Okay, today we're going to try something a little different. First off, we're going to be using Williams and grated it up into this nice little bowl. And then for pre-shave, we're going to go with 3P. The razor for today is actually not a razor, it's a Shavette made in Turkey. So it's, if you see right there, right here, that's where the blade is. It sticks out a little bit out the tip, and that's how you remove the blade. It's actually in there in a very skinny slot. So we're going to try Shavette. I haven't shaved with a Shavette in over a year, so we're going to see if I end up massacring my face or not. And then the other thing we're going to use is a Zenith horsehair brush. And not in the picture for the video is this Harry's Post Shave Mist. Has a really nice light scent. I'm going to go with a nice light scent today instead of an aftershave. So let's get this party started. We've got about 3 or 4 days growth. I'm going to go ahead and just use water in here and scruff up all those hairs to get the water in and move all the hairs around to get them standing up. It's a good trick if your beard's even thicker and you're going to shave is to use the shave brush without soap, but just water to try and get water in there. And we're going to go with the 3P. Now the Turkish Shavette is quite different than other regular Shavettes like the Parker or any of the Chinese ones or the Japanese Shavettes. It takes a half of a safety razor blade, but the tabs that are usually left over when you snap the blade in half, you have to remove those in order to put the blade inside the Shavette. And most people don't know that you can remove those tabs. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. I'm not going to remove the blade out of the Turkish Shavette, but I have another Shavette here that I'll show the difference. Let's get this slippery stuff off my hands. Okay, so this is another one of my Shavettes. It's a Parker. Right here, and it already has a blade in there. With these ones, you lift this top part and split it in half to load it. With this Shavette from Turkey, it just has a very small slit where you install the blade after popping off the ends in tabs. So you lift that up and then you split it open. There's no magnet, so I will have to try and, there's a couple posts there that hold the blade in. See? So remove this blade, and on the blade there's a tab here. See that tab? You have to remove that little tab there, and then you have to remove that little tab there by snapping them off. And first, what you do to load the Turkish Shavette is you remove one tab, push it into the slot, get it in there perfectly, and then pop off the other end tab. These ones, you keep the tabs on there and keep centrifugal force against the blade so it doesn't move around inside, even though this clamps down on top of it. And then you put that there. So today though, we're going to be doing the Turkish shave, so very, very thin angle. Let's go ahead and get this brush loaded up with some Williams. I've seen online nowadays that Williams is selling for roughly about $26 plus tax and shipping on eBay now. Whereas I used to be able to go into the local pharmacy and grab like 6 of them at a time for $1 each, like 99 cents plus tax. And every time I'd visit the pharmacy, I'd go pick up a Williams. But now that they stopped making them, I can't get them anymore. And people are intrigued by that who's never tried Williams before. And so now they want to try it, but they have to pay a steep amount of money for it. Williams is the epitome of a safety razor or straight razor, safety razor, Shavette, shave, soap, because it never builds up a super thick lather beard. You can get it to build up, but it thins out. The nice thing about it though is it's super slick. I'll get some more water in here. And that's what you really want, is that slickness with the straight razor, and you want that cushioning protective stuff, the other part of it. So, I'll show you the brush. Clean up here. Clear the runways. Okay, wish me luck on this shave, because after over a year of not using a Shavette, I can already see things going wrong here, but we're gonna try anyways. So, go in very shallow. I muted the, in short strokes, I muted the toe and heel. Very light pressure, not steep angle. Oh, I can see some hair in there, huh? Trick with the Shavette I've found, for me anyways, is the many little strokes and keeping that angle. So you don't want to go for a long stroke like that unless you're used to shaving with the Shavette. You just want to kind of do little strokes. The blade I'm using is the perfect blade for a Shavette. It's a Perma-Sharp. My Perma-Sharps are actually made in Germany, or not Germany, Russia. St. Petersburg. I actually don't think you can get any of those anymore made in Russia. I sent a bunch of sample blade packs to Sean Staplefield, and a lot of those are made in Russia. The blades made in St. Petersburg are kind of coveted because they're some of the best blades that you can get for safety razors. Surprisingly, the Russians really knew how to make safety razor blades. Now they outsourced it to different countries. Israel knows how to make some good blades too. Okay. So this is going really well. Extremely comfortable and slick. The other thing that I did, which I always do with my Shavettes other than muting the toe and the heel, is I run it across my thumbnail about 4 or 5 times. What that does is it takes that extreme sharpness, because these are very, very sharp tools, and it doesn't kill the edge like you would imagine. It just makes it a safer sharpness and actually takes that synthetic feel that you get from shaving with a safety razor blade out of the blade. They say on the packages not to wipe the blades, and I can agree with that, but if you're going to use a Shavette, it's recommended that you kill the toe and heel so that you don't poke holes in your face as you're going. And then I'd run the blade across a couple times. The other thing you can do is, if you don't believe in the don't wipe deal, you can Perma-Sharp it carefully while it's in the Shavette. I didn't do that with this one, but all right, so far so good. I don't know if I'll do a 3-pass shave, we'll see. With Shavettes, you can get pretty close with the first pass if you're doing it right. And then usually the second pass is just a nice cleanup. I try not to do any odd directions. So we go up and down. I can go sideways and stuff with the blade too, but I don't go in any directions that could really risk cutting the face and causing blood to spill. People don't think about how sharp Shavettes are compared to a straight razor. I mean, you can get a straight razor pretty darn sharp, like a safety razor blade is, but it doesn't really need to be that sharp to cut the hair and to be comfortable and keen and smooth. To be honest with you, with shaving, you don't have to do 3 passes or 2. You can just do 1 if that's what your face can handle. When I first started out with safety razors, my skin wasn't used to the blades, and I could only do 1 pass, and it was with the grain. And I did that for quite a long time because I realized if I tried to do more than 1 pass, I'd have all sorts of ingrown hairs and cuts, and my face would feel just horrible. After my face got used to the safety razor blades, I started going to 2 passes. So just a down and an up. And then once my face got used to that, I started paying attention to the way that my hair grew, how the hair grew on my face and what direction. And then I started trying to figure out what would be a good 3-pass shave for me that wouldn't cause any irritation at all. And I went with the grain on the first 2 passes, but in different directions. One was down and one was from here back, and then the third would be against the grain and up. So you can do a lot of going this way or that way, and that'll get just amount of baby butt smooth as if you were just to go against the grain up. It doesn't feel like I missed a whole lot of anything. This has been a really, really good shave with this Williams. We're gonna find out using that safety razor blade if I use the right amount of pressure too here in a minute, because I'm gonna use some alum. And if you're using too much pressure with the Shavette, it will sting when you use the alum and your aftershave. Same thing as if you're using too much pressure or being too aggressive with a straight razor or a safety razor. That's that sting. It's not a keen, smooth shave if it's stinging. Bit of a hot day today. It's going to be up in the 80s. Tomorrow it's going to be cool enough, mid 70s. Later in the day that I'm going to be able to do a little mowing and yard work. I've got some of these, I call them weed trees that just sprout up anywhere. They're really nasty. They pop off a bunch of pollen and seeds and stuff every year, and then they just pop up anywhere you can imagine that the pollen and the seeds fell. And the problem with them is when they grow into trees, the roots are really shallow. So they can be kind of a danger and a nuisance from the pollen and the seeds and the fact that they're shallow. So when I'm working in the yard every year, I gotta make sure to keep an eye out for them. And I missed a couple, and I noticed that one's grown behind a rack, and it looks about the size of a baby tree. So it's about the size of a little tiny baby tree, maybe about 2 inches round. So I'm gonna have to either remove everything and move the rack out of the way and cut it out, or try and cut it with the rack there. And then I have one growing close to the alleyway, by the fence behind some chicken wire near the garden that I gotta get out. The one that popped up out front by the bushes. So tomorrow, other than mowing, if I actually end up mowing, that's gonna be the big hunt, is looking for those baby trees afterwards. All right, what's going on with this Harry's? This is really good stuff. It has kind of a refreshing, soothing thing. Like eucalyptus. But you don't want to get it in your eyes because the menthol and the eucalyptus will sting like crazy. When I first used it, I learned the hard way. Okay, well, that was a really good, surprisingly good Shavette shave after it being about a year since I've shaved with, or over a year, Shavette. This is the Shavette we shaved with. Super cheap, you can get them on eBay. I think that's where I ordered mine. You just Google Turkish Shavette. And then you have to remember to pop those tabs off to load it. And in order to get the blade out, it sticks out just a little bit there. You have to use the countertop and kind of pull it down, and it'll pop it up, and then you can pull it out. Then we used a Zenith horsehair brush, some Harry's post shave. Pre-shave was 3P, and then we used the grated up Williams. All right, well, have a great Sunday, guys.